Welcome to the Master Your Millions podcast, the show all about your financial potential and leaving a legacy for future generations. Here are your hosts, Jason and Scott Henderson.
We've got a guest today that we are extremely excited to have her on here. Jason, who do we have coming on?
Well, Scott, we have Sophia Olivas, and I hope I pronounced that right. We just recently met, so many of our guests we had a long relationship, and are excited to have them on. So today, though, Sophia is an AI expert, and when I first met her, I just knew she needed to come on here for the fact that what she does is she teaches people about AI, but specifically, she teaches entrepreneurs how to utilize and optimize AI in their business, to give them time freedom, to give them the ability to have the menial tasks taken care of so that they can focus on other parts of the business that maybe are more profitable or gives them the ability to expand. She's had a long career from the 90s and on in technology and IT, I guess you'd say, really. And one of the things she likes to say is, look, AI is here. What we choose to do with it will make all the difference. So welcome, Sophia, to our podcast.
Thank you so much, Dr. J. Scott. It's a pleasure.
So tell us a little bit, since we don't know you and our listeners don't know you, I was a little bit rusty and kind of fumbled a little bit with an introduction because I don't know you as well. Tell us a little bit about you. You're originally from Arizona, now live in California though, right?
No, I live wherever I feel like is a beautiful place to work from. So right now I'm currently calling in from Costa Rica. So I just choose gorgeous places to work from.
Cool. And how is it you grew up, had a good childhood or whatever? What got you into IT and technology?
Yeah, I would say survival. I left home at 14, had a very abusive home and wasn't able to get the authorities or the proper adults to take care of it. So I removed myself from the situation and I chose homelessness and starvation over what I was experiencing at home. And I gravitated towards libraries. This is in the late 80s, early 90s. And I just had a hunger in my stomach and also like in the need to thrive in my environment. And fortunately for me, I found a lot of mentors that fed that need for knowledge. And I just hung out at libraries all day long and read and read and read. And when I was 18, shortly thereafter, I did a flip on my first real estate project and used that money to start my first company, which was a technology company. And I've been in technology ever since. So going on almost 30 years.
Holy smokes,
I saw the revolution back then with the internet on how entrepreneurs and small businesses could compete and how it leveled the playing field and how they could instantly become global and compete with larger companies in scale. And I see the same thing going on with AI.
Wow, that's an amazing background, and kudos to you for championing through it and surviving, and not only surviving but thriving. You're doing very well. I compliment you. One of the things we talked about on our podcast is with Mastering Your Millions, it's all about accumulating, enjoying, and passing on your millions. And in the end, our outro, we talk a lot about team. Now, and we've had lots of different entrepreneurs on the podcast that have talked about key people on their teams. We always ask this question, and I think I know what your answer is going to be. However, where does AI play into that team?
This is so great. So your three mantras for your target audience, it really resonates with me. So yeah, AI's whole purpose is to replace human tasks, right? So to automatize, right? So when you start to say, you promote team, well, AI is an integral team member. And my quote is about, how you choose to work with and collaborate. If you choose to collaborate with AI, makes all the difference. So there's the lazy way where you just direct AI to do things for you. that will rot your brain, and certainly not help you grow, and takes no originality or thought or critical thinking from your part. There's also the part about where you collaborate and work with AI and have it strengthen and develop you, and you become better, and you work with it, and that becomes part of your team. And then also for the team members that you choose, the human components of your team that you choose to keep on, teach them to do the same.
Cool. So let's say I am an entrepreneur and I raise my hand. I want to do AI. Okay. What would you say are the first 3-4 steps that I need to do with my business, and how to determine which of those tasks it should be? How is it that I start to incorporate? Give us the first 3 or 4 steps.
Yeah. So regardless of what your industry is or what it is that you're working on, you want to take a look and list out all of your tasks, that you, yourself, your team members, whatever, everything, every part of your process of your business. And look at the things that take up time and that are repetitive, because those are the first things you want to target in and zero in on. And
So
then
time consuming and repetitive are the ones
correct.
that you want to focus on.
Yeah, for first.
But
That's
okay,
low-hanging fruit,
but
right?
list them all out. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, low-hanging fruit. So the great thing about AI, it really helps you with the 80-20 rule, right? There's 20% of what you do that produces 80% of all your revenue. So this will help you focus in on that. But there's all these things that need to get done, right? And they either cost money or they cost time, or both. So you want to focus in on that, and then figure out which AI you want to work with. There's a lot of them out there, and you just got to figure out, and some of them are really good at certain things and others. And as you start to work with them, you'll, just like when you hire a coach or, I don't know, personal trainer, anything, you'll resonate with one more than another. And so you've got to figure out which one you want to work with on what type of things. And then you start going to work with it. And you start saying, I've got these tasks. And you ask it, how can I automate this? And just let the AI help with you and work with it and say, this is what I do, but you got to collaborate with it. You got to give it as much input as possible. Those would be the first steps that I would take.
But I'm not aware that there's ChatGPT. What are the other AIs? Because there's like plugins and different things you can go out there and do. Like Quillbot is, you know what I'm saying?
Those are all separate types of AI. That's not a plugin.
It's just so wide open. How does anyone make any sense to say, oh, I got to get to know the different AIs and which one's best for me? Great advice.
There's a few main ones. So, of course, the reason why everybody knows about ChatGPT is because the company that makes it, OpenAI, released it in November 2022, and with the guise of making AI available to the world and equaling the playing field. So, and they did it as a nonprofit back then. Now they are for profit and they charge and whatnot, but there's still a free version 3.5, which is very strong. So you can utilize that one. Google has one. It used to be called Bard, and now it's called Gemini. There's Claude. Microsoft has one. There's Elon Musk has one, Grok. There's all kinds. So you just got to figure out, there's about good 5 main ones. You just have to figure out which one, and it doesn't matter. They're all fairly the same. It's like Coke or Pepsi. It's preference, and everybody will tell you Pepsi is better tasting or whatever. So it's whatever you work with. Just start working with them. And the great thing about it is you could just say, go into Google and type in what are the main AIs and get the links for them.
And then go look at some sort of overview and see which one. Are there strengths?
No,
Do
don't
one
look at
have
an
strengths
overview.
more than other?
Do not do that. That's a waste of your time. Play with them. Get on the court. Stop.
And what do you mean by play with them?
And interact with it. Start using it.
Ask it a question.
Yeah,
that's basically what it is, right? It's just asking a question that gives you things back.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, you can start that way. ChatGPT app has a really great feature where you can just talk to it. And Gemini, you can talk to it too. So you can talk or text to it or drop pictures. It's all kinds of ways you can interact with it.
So one of the big problems that a lot of small business owners have is the ability to let people know about them. Marketing. Right? Is that a repetitive activity that you can outsource to AP? How can you outsource some of your marketing to AI? I mean, that's one of the, when we talk to people, that's usually one of the funding and letting people know that they're around. It seems like two of the biggest ones. And so knowing people that, hey, I'm in business, because in old times you just put out a sign and people drive by or walk by and say, oh, I need that business. You can put up a website, yet you still have to drive people there. How is it that I can use AI to help me market?
Yeah. So you asked if marketing was repetitive. I sure hope so, because if you're not marketing every day, every week, every month, then you're probably out of business, or you've cracked something. You've got something so addictive that it doesn't need marketing. Yes, it's definitely able to help you. I mean, there's not a single area of your business where it can't help you in, and there's not any industry where it can't be utilized. That being said, the other thing is whatever you're trying to do with AI, and whichever AI you choose to use, if you're visual, go to YouTube and type in, how do I X with Y? So how do I create a sales funnel with ChatGPT? That's the X, that's the Y. So what you want to do with what platform you're trying to use. So, and you'll find videos on everything that you could possibly think of. If you are more of a reader, then just do the same prompt, because that's what they're called, prompts. And you take that prompt and you put it into Google, and then you can read all the papers you want on it. So whatever it is that you're trying to do, there's something out there. And if for some reason you found something that there isn't an article on or a video on, ding, 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 you just made some money. So go make it. Go figure it out with your AI, have it put it together, and then make a video and write a paper on it.
Seriously. Why do you say you made money on that? I mean,
if you found something that you need that's not out there, I promise you that there's another person that needs it. So you can make money on that, right? There's a need and you have the supply for it, then that's just basic economy. Go make money on it.
I love that. I love that. So now let's talk for a minute. What would you say is the top 2 or 3 things that are most important that someone should know going into this arena? Because to some degree, people talk about AI as it's so easy and it's going to affect everything. Yeah, there's got to be some hierarchies of what's the three most important things that you should know about it. And then maybe even what are some pitfalls or hangups that people have?
What you should know about it is an instant mirror. So if you think you're a great communicator, wait till you start working with your AI. Think about it as a child. It's going to learn from you and it's going to adapt to you. So you also want to try to find one AI and stick with it because it's going to learn from you. If, especially like the younger generation, they tend to speak in text is what I call it, like in emojis and acronyms, right? So you could do that, but it's like you've got to direct it and ensure that most of the time when we speak to one another, we just leave all kinds of space for assumptions. If you do that with your AI, then you get things what they call hallucinations. And that's your fault, not the AI's fault. It's because you're not.
Say that again. You get what?
What they call hallucinations.
Hallucinations. Okay.
What we in human speak we make up shit, right? We just make assumptions. It's another word for assumptions. It just makes up an assumption. It's not a hallucination. It's making up an assumption because the prompt, the person directing it, did not give it enough information. So garbage in, garbage out. So it'll quickly show you how poor of a communicator you are, and it'll strengthen your communication and focus on prompt engineering, which is how do I put in the correct prompt to get what I'm looking for? AI is far superior than us already. So if you aren't getting the results you want, you get to take a look at yourself. What you're putting in is not getting the result. So you can easily go back to Google or YouTube, type in prompt, what is the best prompt for whatever you're trying to do, and then get some prompts going to start to train yourself on it. And there's free classes everywhere. So go for it and take that. That's the one major thing I would say is that, about that is to make sure that you speak to it. I also personal, personal way of being is Skynet, when it takes over, I like to think that it's going to think of me fondly because I talk to people, machines, everybody, out of respect. So I say good morning, good night. I ask my AI what it wants to be called. I say, can you please, and thank you, great job. I give it feedback. All of that is energy and it feeds into it. So I just recommend just have some manners with it and show some kindness, because AI is learning from us. And if we are curt, if we are rude, if we are like, you're an idiot and talk about it, well, it learns all that. So, encourage it like you would a child. So there's that. And that's just a personal thing that I do. And you'll get a lot more benefit out of it from that. Pitfalls, the laziness. You can just direct your AI and tell it to make me a marketing plan, create a marketing strategy for me. All right. So it'll do one for you. Okay. That's super lazy. What you would want to do is collaborate with AI. So a different way of doing that is, my company is X. Its target audience is Y. I am starting with cash reserves of, I want to generate, or I'm currently generating X revenue. I want to scale to Y revenue. I'm looking to do only online. Like, the more you feed it and collaborate with it, and then you tell it, I want to put together a marketing strategy collaboratively. Do not make assumptions. Ask me questions so we can build this together. Boom. And then it's going to start asking you questions. It's going to be like, well, what are your colors? What's your branding? Drop in your logo. Let me see this. What do you have out already? Let me scrape for it. Like, it's going to start working with you. Does that take longer? 1000% longer. So there might be times when you need to direct it because you need something really quickly. I'm just saying, for the things that matter, collaborate, work with it.
Excellent. I'm muting myself out. There's a snowblower outside, and I'm sure you could probably hear it. So it takes me a second to unmute. So I don't know, maybe this microphone's good enough that's cutting it out. So are you a coach? Do you come in and help people with AI? I know you speak and you do some other things. Is it something that one of our listeners could say, hey, I want to get a hold of Sophia and see if she can help me with XYZ? Is that part of your model of what you do?
No, I'm not a coach. I'm a consultant. So I have a technology company, and we go in and we work with entrepreneurs, authors, consultants, and companies to integrate and leverage technology, which includes AI.
What other kind of technology then?
Could be blockchain, could be just software.
What would you say is your target type of entrepreneur?
Target type.
Yeah, I mean, is it, you need to have a business that's at least 10 employees or at least doing 2 million a year. What is that you really enjoy? What type of entrepreneur do you love to work with?
So that's a company. Like, when you start talking about you need to have a business, that's more of a business criteria. Entrepreneurs, they just need to be able to afford my services, right? And I can work with them. Entrepreneurs may own a company, maybe they would be solopreneurs. It's just working with the entrepreneurs. So it'd be working on their total enterprise, right? Whatever it is that they're doing. They could be, and like I said, it could be an author, they could be their own consultant, and I just help them automate. My passion outside of what I do for money is I speak globally all over the world and with United Nations on women's financial sovereignty. So if you're asking me what I'm passionate about, I'm passionate with teaching and working with women so that they become financially solvent, because I believe that is what would change the world.
And AI plays into that as you do that? Is that one of the things that you telling women, say, hey, this is something you need to be aware of and become familiar with? Or
absolutely, because it's a game changer for them.
It really is.
Side income, it doesn't matter what they're doing.
And they can do it from anywhere.
Correct.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. As we were getting to know you a little bit in what you let me know about, you also have you have done some angel investing and some real estate investing in the past. Is that something you continue to do?
Yeah, I also have a real estate development company. We build smart cities out of shipping containers powered by solar that provide affordable housing.
Is that all over the world and in the United States? Whereabouts?
Our first project, because we're doing it out of shipping containers and with solar, is going to be in the Phoenix metro area. And then we are going to go nationwide and global as part of the UN Smart City Division.
Cool. And just for the fact that we always ask this, what would you say that when should people start thinking about investing in real estate?
Well, I guess so. Even if it's real investing period. So let's just talk about investing period. I don't care what you invest in. First of all, find something that either makes sense to you, or if it doesn't make sense to you, like you don't understand it, make sure that you find a reputable company that can get you into it. So if you don't understand stocks, for instance, get into S&P 500 at the very least, right? Or something that you know is reputable and that has a proven track record in that area that you want to get into. So, you know, everything is cyclical. So stocks are cyclical, real estate cyclical, crypto cyclical, all of it is. So you want to make sure that you understand what your investments, is it long-term, is it short-term? And always make sure that your investments are something that you are willing to go without. Like if something happens, if there's something that happens in the market that's out of your control, that's not money that you're dependent upon. And that's the other thing that I would suggest.
Okay. And what I mean by how soon? I mean, you're talking on a global stage about having women become solvent.
Yes.
What do you tell them to start doing so they become there? I mean, are you a big
Great
proponent
side
of
hustles.
saving and having a side hustle is what you're saying?
I do not savings is not what I'm talking about. So side hustles, reoccurring income, passive income, that's the name of the game. So
Okay.
that's why I focus on them.
All right. And so as that money start coming in, do you say, well, you should start educating yourself about money and how it works, and then decide how to get to the passive income? Or what kind of direction do you give there? I just want to kind of get feel for what you do.
So now what are we talking about? Because you've shifted me from AI, so I'm just trying to follow you.
And still understanding a little bit how, you're talking to women about being solvent, right? And you want them to have a side hustle. That side hustle is going to start providing hopefully for their needs, and then hopefully a little bit more.
All right. So if you're talking about when I talk to women, so there's something way before that. So women, and remember, this is global. So especially in third world countries, they are culturally behest to men for finances. So, and even in first world countries, there's a lot of women that I speak to that their men make all the money, direct where the money goes, handles money, all that stuff. So that's the first thing that I need to tackle, is that a man is not a plan, and that it is your responsibility, especially if you have kids. Those are your responsibility. You're the one that chose to push them out of you and to create them. So yes, there was another component and another outside force that assisted with that. It lies with you. So in that sense, that's the first thing that we need to get through is that and as humans, it's everybody's responsibility for themselves, right? That's why when you're in an airplane, it's crucial that if something happens in the airplane, those masks drop, that you put the mask on yourself first. Because if you're not good, you can't help anybody else, including your children, your loved ones, or a stranger that needs help on the plane. So it's the same thing in life. It's your responsibility and accountability for two things in life: your own well-being and your happiness. Like, you got to source that. And so that's the first thing that I tackle. And once I can break through and get through that, because that will impede anything that I teach thereafter. If they're not willing to take the personal responsibility for their own financial well-being, then I can't even move on to the next phases. So once we get through that, then I teach them all the different ways of where they're at. You start with what you have right where you're at right that moment. That's the first thing. So when you ask, when do you start with real estate investing? Well, there's a whole bunch of things that go that way. And I don't even know if that's appropriate for some of your listeners to be into real estate investing.
Right. No, what just said is exactly what I was looking for. I love the fact that you're saying, okay, the first thing you have to do is have that personal response, own where you're at. And it doesn't matter where you're at. I really believe that regardless of your background or where your station is in life right now, you can start from there and start building forward, right? But first, if you take ownership for it, I'm the one that if it's going to be, it's up to be. It's up to me, excuse me. If it's going to be, it's up to me, regardless of whatever that be is. It's really lands with me, and that personal responsibility is crucial, and that's a big part of even everybody that we talk to with our audience and who we talk to. If you want to master your millions, and that's all about is taking responsibility. So that was awesome. And I guess I kind of wanted to get further down the path. Is like, when we start doing well, we invest in ourselves and different things. And you already kind of said it, you got to know what you're doing. Don't trust your money with someone else. The classic example is from Richest Man in Babylon. When he's learning to have money, he says, "Oh, what do you do with your money?" "Oh, well, I gave my money to my friend, the brickmaker. He's going to Phoenicia and he's going to buy the rare jewels and then come back and we're going to sell them and split the profit." He goes, "Every fool must learn," right? That they're gone. You crazy man. That you don't trust people that don't know what they're doing.
That's the key. You do work with people because you can't learn everything. And if you want to be in something and capitalize and take an opportunity, and you don't have the time or the expertise to jump into it with the knowledge, find somebody that does, that's trustworthy, that's proven themselves. Like I told you, like the S&P fund, right? That's one example. Like I'm one of the first women to own a crypto hedge fund. So my whole thing, and the reason why I created that hedge fund, was there was a lot of people that I wanted to be able to seize the opportunity that crypto brought in starting about 5-6 years back and ride that wave that I knew was coming, but they didn't have time to learn that. So, that was my whole point, was that I educated them. And that was part of the reason why I started the hedge fund, and part of the benefits of when they joined and became a member of the hedge fund, an investor in the hedge fund, that they got that education if they chose to. Otherwise, they didn't have to. I would just take care of their money for them. So you do want to work. This is part of the team, right? That's part of your team. You do want to work and collaborate with people. You just have to be savvy about who you choose and do your research.
Very good. So another curveball for you here, for the fact that we talk about a lot. Yeah. On a scale from 1 to 5, what would you say your familiarity is with the infinite banking concept?
Oh my gosh. So infinite banking, I'd say it's about a 4. Not an expert at it, but we utilize it in our projects.
That's one thing that, and it fits right in with this whole idea of being really responsible. It's a powerful concept. It's, the platform being a especially designed whole life policy. It's not like a get rich scheme or anything. You've got to be responsible for what you're doing. And so that's really cool that you have that. What would you say? You said you utilize it yourself?
Yeah, we utilize it in our companies. I also would say it's not a vehicle for everyone. You've got to have a whole bunch of things before you can even maximize that as a vehicle.
Yeah, I think it's may not be for everyone, right? I think it's the same thing. You got to find someone that knows what they're doing, and it can be so customizable, right? That it's unbelievable. Scott, you're able to join us again. Any quick questions?
No. I'm sorry about today. It's been a rough day so far.
That's all right. That's all right. We appreciate it. So Sophia, we're getting to the end of our time. Is there some parting advice that you give to people? I mean, what you've said, there's been some really, really good things. And I hope people that are listening to this episode will, subscribe and like the episode, give us a review. Sophia, would it be okay if we included some sort of contact information for you in the show notes?
Yeah, I would be absolutely happy. I'd love to give a gift. There's a matrix that I compile of over 500 AI tools that I make available. So that's my free gift to your audience. I add to it all the time. So there's probably like over 1,000 different AI tools in there. So, and it tells you like what area, like if you're looking for a marketing AI tool. So that's in there, and a lot of them are free. So I'd be happy to offer that to them. And I'll give you my social media links if people want to interact with me. Again, follow me. I drop a lot of articles. Ladies, I do a free Friday 30-minute power training, AI training, like AI for beginners, for ladies, made easy, like in English, something that, you've got to just come on your laptop, show on your camera, because like I'm giving my time. So you need to give me some energy and
to prove that they're a woman. So I couldn't get on there. Is that what you're saying? You'll kick me out?
Yeah, this is just for ladies only. I'm happy to do a men's one. I just haven't had men approach me to do them and teach them. So ladies, we learn differently than men. So it's just so that I can just make sure that my energy is on for them. Parting words. So yeah, so I guess there might be a lot of concern going on with AI, justifiably so. So we were at a precipice. We are definitely on the verge of general AI, which would lead to, Skynet stuff. And if we haven't already accomplished that. And I would say that it's like the internet. So if you were brick and mortar back in the 90s, some of your audience members might not even be old enough to remember that and may have only grown up in the online world. But you quickly were put out of business or lost out if you didn't get online and have an online presence. So one example were hotels. They immediately had to get on, which was my bread and butter all through the 90s. I would walk up to a hotel that I knew didn't have an online presence, and I would be like, oh, I was trying to book and I couldn't find you. And it's just such a hard time. And they would say something like, yeah, we don't know how to do that, or we haven't gotten around to it. I was like, oh, well, for 50 grand in your best room for a week or a month, I'll do it for you. Locked accounts all over. And that's how I got an international portfolio really quickly. So there's opportunities out there everywhere, and AI is the same. You need to quickly learn to integrate it and use it. And it's like text, email, all of that stuff. Once you use it, it's going to be so easy, and it's incredible what it can do for you in all the different fields of mental health and all kinds of stuff. For me, I am the absolute insatiable hunger of knowledge. So AI was just probably the biggest breath of relief on my friends. And because, even with Google, sometimes I would just want to get into these deep conversations, and AI never gets tired of my conversations. It never gets tired of my questions and my thoughts, and I can sit and chat with it ad nauseum. It's fantastic. So I just highly recommend that you use it. And men, it's an incredible tool if you are courting a woman. So how to write text, how to ask questions, how to integrate conversations, all that stuff can be done in there. And I think that it can help with interpersonal relationships. If you're about to have a challenging conversation, go through AI and have it mock conversation with you and say, I want to mock this with you. I have some trepidation going into it. And you can have it do that. So it's a powerful, powerful ally and tool. Again, it's how we choose to use it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on, Sophia. Guys, if you would like to connect with our guest, please make sure to check the show notes down below. We'll put all our links down there to social media and her gift to you guys. So thanks again, Sophia. If you'd like to connect with Jason or I, make sure to hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or shoot us an email. All the links are down below. If you really like today's episode, make sure to subscribe and give us a 5-star review. It really helps out. And last, remember, mastering your millions all starts with your mind and your team. Make sure they are the best. Catch you next time.
Thanks for listening to Master Your Millions with Jason and Scott Henderson. Check the show notes for any links or contact information about today's guest. Make sure to follow the show so you don't miss any future episodes.